We need each other to survive. There's no doubt about it. Humans have always been community creatures, and our interconnectedness is more apparent than ever before. And our churches are no different. And nearly 400 years ago, our forebears also understood that churches needed each other to survive. Although I suspect this conversation has been happening since the beginnings of organized religion. Unitarian Universalism is a relational faith. It is a living faith. It is a faith with a long history, which can be traced back all the way to the origins of Christianity. And it was once two different Christian denominations, and now it is proudly its own denomination. Unitarian Universalism is many things to many people, and at its core, it is those people, and these people gathered here today who compromise the relational aspect of our faith. And it is in this coming together in faith and with faith that what we are doing here matters. How we come together as communities of faith and care has been a deep concern for as long as the strands of our faith have existed. The Cambridge Platform was written in 1648 as a form of governance for New England churches. And in this time, before our country separated from England, churches were more integrated with the government, and therefore having an agreed upon structure was needed. And though churches operated as a proxy of sorts for the state, colonists of this time did not want another Church of England. And to be fair, there are parts of the Cambridge Platform that relate to governmental structures that are no longer applicable today. But the foundation for our faith's governance comes from this document. Congregational polity is the term you might know, which simply means that the governance of our congregations is decided by each individual congregation. But there's more to it than that. Today, the Cambridge Platform serves as a foundation for the defining characteristics of our UU churches. It established many freedoms, both freedoms to and freedoms from. We are free from hierarchy and overbearing leadership structures. We are free to choose our leadership. Authority is shared in our congregations and association. Our individual congregations are free to operate autonomously. We are free to develop our own covenants. We are free to follow our own spiritual and religious journeys. And together with this freedom comes responsibility. The Cambridge Platform balanced this freedom with a high level of commitment from both the individuals and the congregations. Church membership in the 17th century was serious business. And though the societal structures are different today, Unitarian Universalism remains a faith that calls us into active participation. Reverend Susan Frederick Gray said at the 2018 General Assembly, "This is no time for a casual faith." And there she was referring to the resurgence of white nationalism, and sadly, things have not gotten any better with that. So these words are true more than ever. But also, I don't know that there ever is a time for a casual faith as the UU. Our faith is active, living, And that does not happen without active involvement in the growing and sustaining of our faith, both collective and individual. And relationship is the framework through which we practice our faith. The Cambridge platform outlined a foundation for how we do this. As UUs, we commit to living our faith by creating and abiding by covenants. We make covenants as congregations, small groups, between each other. We commit to regularly revisiting these covenants, lest they become stale and rote and devoid of meaning. We commit to both our individual and collective spiritual and religious growth and education. We commit to living our values, even when they are in opposition to the dominant culture. We commit to the ideals of beloved community. And finally, we commit to supporting each other and holding each other accountable with love. This includes individuals and our congregations. And it is this final part that I will focus on today. As a whole, UUs today embody the tenets of the Cambridge platform well, except for one thing. On the congregational level, we are not always very good at holding each other accountable to our values. And we are not always very good at supporting each other. As the body of our association has grown, much of this has been outsourced to offices of regional staff. And there are certainly instances where outsourcing this work is best. And we have wise and compassionate counsel within our region and across our denomination. And as it goes, as organizations grow and shift along with societal shifts, we fall out of habit and practice that which sustain and support us. And I believe this is the case for UUs and this aspect of our congregational polity. And in these times where we need strong networks more than ever, renewing our commitment to congregational relationships is vital. And it must be named that part of this falling away from relationship is a function of American exceptionalism, individualism, and late-stage capitalism. These systems of oppression will always try to creep in. And when we name these things, we help dismantle their power and root them out of our congregations and our society. And in the time of the writing of the Cambridge platform, there was a greater sense of mutuality among churches, and many reasons for that, some that are no longer applicable today or in every situation. In that time, it was expected that churches would do regular pulpit swaps, that the ministers of each church, of the churches, would know the congregations surrounding them. They would gather together at one church or another occasionally. And it was also expected that larger and more established churches would help newer or struggling churches. This might be material support or counseling and educating. This mutual care and support could be many things. It was expected that congregations would support each other in whatever ways they could. And congregations would be offended if a neighboring church was struggling and did not reach out. Among these churches was a commitment to mutual growth and success. One of my favorite authors, Robin Wall Kimmerer, best known for her book, Radiant Sweetgrass, says all flourishing is mutual. And in the spirit of mutual flourishing, I would be remiss if I did not lift up how this congregation and Tri-County UUs are doing a fantastic job of living this part of the Cambridge platform with your ministerial staff. By working together and pooling your resources, you have made a home for liberal faith here in Central Florida. And this is no small thing. And also, you are an island in many ways. The churches of New England of the 17th century and still today are geographically close. So many of our churches in Florida and other places are isolated geographically. And this invites the question of how can we be relationally supportive across distance and in challenging terrain? Well, since COVID has grown our comfort and savvy with tech, it's also grown our ability to connect and be in relationship across distances. And that was something that we did a lot of during COVID, and some of it has fallen away. We now have a greater ability to attend services of other congregations and have guest speakers from across the country. We can attend denominational events such as General Assembly from our living rooms. And we can connect with the different ministries throughout our denomination, such as Uplift, Ministries for the Earth, Allies for Racial Justice, and so many more. And all of these things offer opportunities to deepen our relationships through the interconnected expanses of our faith. And of course, this congregation and Tri-UU are close enough to attend each other's services and events from time to time. You can gather to do social justice work together and to create networks of care between yourselves and to build greater resiliency. Our flourishing depends on each other. All flourishing is mutual. And I find the greater living world to be a wonderful source of inspiration for so many things. Robin Wall Kimmerer's book, The Serviceberry, works as a metaphor for the ways deeper congregational relationships can change our faith and change us. I highly recommend her books, especially the audiobooks, because Kimmerer reads them herself. This book, The Serviceberry, is about reciprocity and the abundance which naturally follows it. I found this short book to be rich with metaphors about the joys and gifts of reciprocal relationships. The same processes which create abundance in nature can also create abundance in our congregations. We need each other in the same way that birds need berries and that berry bushes need birds. Together, we do what we cannot do alone. And when you consider that Unitarian Universalism is a relational faith, a faith founded in covenant, created by us, for us, then reciprocity is non-negotiable. And yet, empirical forces would like to convince us otherwise. The falsehood of individualism and exceptionalism can be convincing at times, but the power and joy of community will defeat them every time. This call to community is part of our religious responsibility as Unitarian Universalists. It is a sacred responsibility to each other and to our faith. Our forebears were also in a struggle with empirical forces as they worked to build a nation of opportunity. They needed each other to withstand the pressures and the tribulations of that time. They found a way through relationship. There are genuine fears of scarcity in our country right now, and in our churches as well. Everyone's resources of time, talent, and treasure are being affected by global and local forces. It's easy to slip into an attitude of scarcity, but that rarely offers a lasting solution. Abundance frameworks offer more fulfilling and longer-lasting solutions. They ask us to share in different ways, in ways that maybe haven't even been done before, in ways that don't just deplete, but reciprocate, and often in inverse proportions. The secret ingredient in an abundance framework is relationship. The relationships built, sustained, and deepened through reciprocal sharing is the force that changes the equation. It takes a plus sign that's already a little bit unsteady on its single post, and it gives it a little nudge. And suddenly, we have a multiplication sign. And it's steady now. It's resting on two legs, ready to make big things happen. Reciprocity and relationship is what brings a vitality to our faith. It brings our faith to life. And when we connect with our faith ancestors, that too is relationship. There are few thresholds that relationship cannot bridge. And when we center relationship in our spiritual and religious practice, we keep our Unitarian Universalist faith alive. In short, the Cambridge platform created the foundation for a culture of church governance rooted in mutual love and care for each other and for the church itself. It brought authority into a place of shared mutuality rather than hierarchical dominance. Though much has changed in our faith since the creation of the Cambridge platform, this thread, mutuality in love, care, and authority has been constant. We keep our faith alive when we heed the wisdom of the Cambridge platform. This was the way of our ancestors, and it is our path for the future. May it be so. And now, if you would join me, stand as you're willing or able for our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. And we'll sing all three verses.